Welcome to Two Nerd Girls. And today
I made this Christmas dress.
With Rudolph, if you can't tell.
Reindeer. Although I wish I would have found this fabric at Star Wars Christmas. As you can see from my Star Wars tree and Yoda on the top, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and you can tell.
Hello. I'm a mild fan. I like it some.
Just a little.
So I saw her dress and was like, I must make a Christmas dress. I haven't made any kind of Christmas dress ever.
And this is the pattern I used. It's New Look 6723, and we're actually going to show you step by step how to make a dress. Now I did view B, but she is going to be doing view C.
With the fluffy sleeves and the V-neck.
And the V-neck, yeah. The first step, of course, is cutting out the pattern to your size. Now we're going to cut the lining. We chose black, just a regular black, because the
Nerd fabric is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So because you're doing the whole bodice, the whole front again, you can do it with any kind of matching color that you can get. This, you can get like $2 a yard or something really cheap.
Super cheap.
Versus $8 to $14 a yard for your fancy nerd fabric. So.
And then one little piece,
Tiny
fusible.
piece of fusible interfacing.
We're gonna pin our bodice pieces together. So this is the front bodice. So see how this looks like a square? You're basically gonna match it to here. See how it fits perfectly right there? And you're gonna pin. And then you're just gonna keep on going down. Now we're gonna do the bodice back. So we're going to see this shape here. We're gonna match it right there and pin. Okay, now we're just going to sew them together. Next, we're going to sew the middle seam of the bodice, and then we're going to do the top seams and put the back bodice and the front bodice together right here and here.
So you repeat the same steps for the basic lining.
Next step, we take the fusible interfacing and and we iron it on so that we don't have to sew it. And this pattern recommends the fusible, so we're not cheating, we swear.
Now we're going to pin the right sides together, so you want your nerd fabric inside and then the front side of your lining kissing each other.
Remember to leave room for the zipper, because we're going to be folding this in and the zipper is going to go down that way. Now we iron the seams. Now we need to sew the side seams on each of the things. Sew it here.
And here.
And here, on both sides.
Remember, right sides together.
Right sides together. So now we kind of have an almost finished bodice. We still need to add the sleeves, but in order to add the sleeves, they want us to do a base stitch just to keep the lining and the main fabric in place.
So it's not wiggling when you're trying to sew on the actual sleeve itself.
Exactly.
We've got 4 pieces here.
So we're gonna just do not a full 5/8, we're just gonna do right on the edge.
Now we're gonna do the sleeves. Basically, you take your pattern piece and you see these 2 dots here. You wanna mark those with your pins, just kind of so you don't lose the placement. Here. And here. For both of your sleeves. And then you want to sew these corners together. Remember, you always want right sides together so that when you open it, it'll be a nice seam and the savage will be on the inside. Now that you have your cuffs, you're going to take where you've marked it with your 2 pins and just do a base stitch.
Basically, we're pinning the sleeve to the bodice So you want to make sure right sides are together. And so I pin all the way up to where the seam ends for the gathering, because now I'll just gather it and I'll be able to match it perfectly.
Now that our sleeves are sewn on, the next step is doing the cuff. And you can use, like we talked about earlier, this pattern and create basically your own bias tape. I'm going to cheat it because I kind of like this neon green color and use bias tape that I already have. But I'm going to use this to measure what I think it should be. Also, you can measure around your own arm. Just make sure you leave yourself enough room to get in and out of there. Create a base stitch all the way around because you're going to gather this. So what you want to do after you've done your base stitch is pull that extra thread, and so you can kind of start gathering it until you get about the size of the armhole that you need for your finished dress. So I already did the other side here, so you can kind of see what that looks like. So I pulled until it was the right size of my bias tape, then I sewed this around like so, and so that's kind of the finished sleeve. Next, we're going to sew on the pockets to your skirt. And the pattern gives you these little arrows so you know where to start. You take your pocket and you want the right sides together. So basically you want the nerd fabric facing the nerd fabric. So you want to be looking at kind of the ugly side of the pocket. So now we're just going to sew those straight seams for each pocket. That was the back, now we're doing the front. So once you've sewn your pockets, what you do is you take the front of the skirt and the back two pieces and you line them up so that they match. So you've got your nice elephant ears here. And then you pin all the way around. And then once you've pinned, you sew that same line. You go about 5/8 in, it should be on your machine, following that line, and just curve on the outside and then all the way down. So you're not sewing this middle section, you're leaving that open. So even just pin it on the outside so you don't accidentally sew your pocket shut. Okay, so now I'm going to do the base stitch along the top. Bodice to the bottom of your skirt. So now you've attached the bodice to the bottom of your skirt. So it should look like that. Woo!
Okay, next we're going to sew in the lining onto the skirt. So what I've done here is I've just tucked it under the lining and pinned it down. I start from the middle just because. And then you just go all the way across. Now we're going to pin to where the zipper is going to go. So start at the top. And the zipper is going to go about here. So we just mark it with a pin. Now we're going to base stitch all the way down to the pin. And then the rest of the skirt, do a regular stitch. Now you pin the zipper with the middle of the zipper following exactly on the line of the seam. Now we sew in the lining. So you fold it and put it right next to the zipper and sew it in.
So now we're going to finish the end of the dress. Now you can serge it like I have here and do a small stitch on top, or you can fold it twice and do a rolled hem. I'm going to cheat it and just use a bias tape because I like this green pop of color, and I've already done that pop on the sleeves. So you'll just do what you do with normal bias tape, just follow it all the way around, nice and easy.
And this is the finished product. So we used New Look pattern 6723. I did view B.
And I did view C.
So from the two nerd girls, happy holidays.
Say good luck making the pattern.
Nah.
Okay.